back to Calmsden Farm. It's been a while. No, this series is not back. This is a video about MaizePlus and cows. Yes, I've done a lot of those. This is something similar, but maybe slightly different. There's been at least a couple of questions, actually mostly from the same person, but the fact that there was a question made me think it was useful about how you get started with the different animals in MaizePlus. So we've done the whole series of videos on making money from the animals, and now going to go through looking at how you get started with them. We have beef and dairy here because they're pretty much the same in terms of feed and what you need. So I'm going to run through what you need to feed them, what kit you might want. It's not a definitive guide, it's just an idea to get you started. So one of the really useful mods for starting out with MaizePlus is called the Animal Food Overview by FS22. That is on ModHub. I'll put a link for it below. And what that allows you to do is press right control, right shift and F, and that brings up the different feeding requirements for the animals. So with cows, you can obviously feed the individual components, or you can feed TMR. I'll talk about TMR in a minute, but if you just want to feed the individual components, so fill each of the 4 bars, this will tell you what you need to put in. So their base food is grass silage, maize silage, or whole crop silage. Roughage, alfalfa hay or hay. Most maps you'll have to buy the alfalfa hay from the store. Bales are included in MaizePlus, so you can buy bales of alfalfa hay from the store. Or if you're on a map with alfalfa and the map is set up correctly with the right fill types for alfalfa and the ability to make hay from it, then you could use that. Moisture food, so cut potatoes, normal potatoes, sugar beets, cut sugar beets, carrots, which you can buy from the store as part of MaizePlus. If you're on a map that's got growable carrots and they use the right fill types, that should work. Brewer's grain you have to buy. There's a placeable that you can put down with MaizePlus that costs £1 and lets you buy brewer's grain. You can ferment that into silage. Same with beet pulp, and you can ferment that into silage. And fresh maize is unfermented maize silage. So you chop it with a forage harvester, and that's fresh maize. And then power food is mineral feed. So the 2 types of mineral feed, the base game one or the Doika one. Grain mix, and then canola or soybeans, and then beet pellets. So those are the different things that you might want to use if you're feeding them directly. So for that, you're going to want some grass fields, because you're going to want to make maybe some grass silage and some hay. Or you could do maize silage, or if you want to do whole crop silage, that's kind of wheat, oats, or barley. But if you're getting started, I would say a grass field, because that's going to get you grass silage and hay, which is like 70% of your feed. I would probably look at maybe buying canola or soybeans from the farm supply pack. It's a staple for me for feeding animals with MaizePlus. It gives you really good value feed. So that's how I would do that. You could plant canola or soybeans. You could buy mineral feed. You could make grain mix. If you're interested in how you make grain mix, I have a video on that on the channel already. So just go searching, or you could use beet pellets. And if you're interested in that, I have a pellet production mod, which is available. So you could make your own beet pellets, or you could buy them. If you wanted to get beet pulp, you could do that either through buying it, or through Just Add Adam has a production which takes sugar beets and produces sugar and beet pulp. But yeah, in terms of your moisture food, you could grow some potatoes or some sugar beet. You could go and buy brewer's grain. It's really cheap to buy. Or you could, if you were growing maize for maize silage, you could keep some of that back unfermented and use that. So, roughly and you're going to want straw for your cows as well, thinking about it. I'm kind of freeforming this video. So I prepped to the save and then I'm just diving in. It's quite often how I do these kind of things. You're going to want to bed your cows down. So you're going to want wheat, barley or oats to get some straw, or another crop that gives you straw. You're going to want some grass, and you're going to want some root crops or something like that, or you could buy those other ones. If you're getting started, I'd use the farm supply pack, buy the root crops, buy some soybeans and that get you your other 2, and you're pretty much good then. You could do that with just a grass field, really. So the other option for feeding cows obviously is TMR. And I've got videos specifically on making TMR, but if we just jump in here, you'll need a mixer obviously, and then playing in I've got manual gearbox. I'm just going to pull this forward a little bit. So within the mixer, you can choose from different recipes. So there is the standard recipe, that's the base game one, that uses, and if you jump out and go and look at the mixer, it'll tell you. So to make the base game mixture, you need at least 20% whole crop silage. So that's silage from wheat, oats, or barley. 20% hay, and then the rest is up to you. So beyond that, making sure you fill the mixer up, and you can use up to 30% straw, up to 7% mineral feed. You don't need straw or mineral feed to make a standard recipe TMR mix. We then jump in, we can press Y again, and we get what's called the realistic mixture. This is actually one of the easiest mixtures to make, because all you need to have is 10% grass silage and 10% maize silage. So you could do 90% grass silage, a little bit of maize silage, you'll be good. Or you can put any one of those in. So yep, that really depends on what you want to feed. We then have the beef cattle mix. All of these work. I'll come on to that in a moment. So here we've got a minimum requirement for clover hay or alfalfa hay, so you have to buy that from the store, and maize silage. So you know, if you just wanted to, you could just grow maize, make maize silage, buy some clover hay and alfalfa hay, and get yourself a TMR. Pressing the wrong key, we go into this one. Again, so here we've got a minimum for straw, grass or maize silage, and hay. So yeah, quite common themes. Obviously, you're feeding cows, and then the last one, the dairy cow mix. And there we've got a minimum for grass silage or maize silage and hay. So again, you could just have, if you just had grass fields, you could use this mix. You could do 50-50 grass silage and hay, and that would get you a TMR. Now the thing is with the TMRs, that any valid TMR, so if we go, actually go back, we go into the animal menu, I'm assuming some things. So for cows, as I said, you've got 4 feed bars, and you can, as I said, you can either individually fill them. So with the things that we saw earlier, using the forgotten the name of the mod, it's on my piece of paper in front of me, the animal food overview. So we can bring that up with the control F, and so these 4 groups of feed here correspond to the 4 groups of food here. So you can put those in individually, or if you make any valid TMR, they will fill all 4 bars at the correct ratio. So if I go look at this one still, so this one you only have to put in, well, you can make a valid TMR with just grass silage and hay, 50-50. That would fill all 4 feed bars. I'll show you it in a minute, actually, just so you understand. So you don't need to put in a moisture food, you don't need to put in a power food, you don't have to have a food from each group for it to fill each of the groups. And I think I have, do I have some grass silage here? I do. So if we jump in the telehandler, a little mini Manitou. Not sure if you're still watching Farmer R, but this was inspired by you and your recent acquisition. And what we're going to do is we're going to put in a couple of bales of grass silage. Grab those. And thank you to whoever it was on Discord who recommended this bale grab. It is awesome. It made setting this up so much better. Obviously, you might want to remove the wrap from your bales, but we're not going to do that. And if you actually, another thing to show you, if you're in the vehicle, you can see we have the mixing ratio on the side there, and if we get close enough, you can see it gives us down there. So at the moment we are 100% grass silage because we've put in only grass silage. If we back up now and go grab some hay, ideally I would have planned so that I could have bales that would give me 7,000 litres of hay. I'm not sure what one bale will give me. These are just bales I bought from the store. It might be about right, actually. Do one bale, I'm going to have to take one down. Do that. Another 8,000, yeah, so it's going to be not quite 50-50, but it'll give you an idea. Because quite good, I've seen that a few times now, that people have asked, you know, about making TMR and do I have to put in a moisture food or whatever. There are so many options you can put in. We've got molasses, we've got filtered water, mineral feed, grain mix, there are loads of them. Several videos on feeding cows if you're interested in more information. We're just going to drop that bale in, switch that off, and if we jump in here you can see that we have TMR. So if I go to here, you'll see that we have everything is in the. What does it say? That's 15,000 litres. I put too much hay in. We had a TMR. So if you put too much in, you end up with it being the last thing that you put in. So if we just grab one more bale of grass silage, and say that's me not planning my bale size properly. One of the important things with playing with MaizePlus is planning which size bales you use. You don't always want to make the biggest bale possible. So have a think about that. There is no perfect bale size. There is no perfect mixture. There is the mixture that you decide you want to make. No, there is no better mixture in terms of how the cows are going to perform. If we look now, we'll see we have total mixed ration, dairy cow, which is the one that we selected. It will feed beef cattle as well as it will feed dairy cattle. It is just what the mixed recipe is named, and we are 56% silage, 43% hay. If we look at the feed bars now, there's a little bit of power food in there. That's because I was walking past, I was taking the pallets past on the forks. But if we now drive forwards, so we've only put grass silage and hay in here. So in theory, that's just your first two groups, but because TMR is a total mixed ration and it fills everything, we'll see that it's filled all these bars up in the correct ratio. So it's put in the most in the base food, then a bit less in the roughage, a bit less in the moisture food, and less in the power food. So hopefully that makes sense. Obviously, kit-wise, things you're going to want, if you're going to do TMR, you're going to need a feed mixer. You're going to want some tractors. Obviously, you're going to want something to handle bales with because you're going to be doing a lot of bale work probably. A straw blower. I haven't put straw in, but you're probably going to want a straw blower. So we've got some mineral feed here as well in case I wanted to include that in the mixture. You probably want to have at least one clamp on the farm. If you're going to want to make you might want to make silage in a clamp. You can store root crops in a clamp with MaizePlus. You might want to do your beet pulp silage or that kind of thing in there. You can, if you get the multi-baler off of the DSA Discord, you can make bales from beet pulp. So you're probably going to want something to deal with the slurry you'll get. You'll get a lot of slurry. And if the slurry tank fills up, the cows stop producing milk. So you're probably going to want a slurry spreader or a tanker to go sell it. You're going to want somewhere for your manure to be collected. This one is part of MaizePlus. So if we go into silos and scroll across, you'll see as part of MaizePlus, there is a manure heap, which is that guy. Holds 100,000 litres. It's nice and small. You're going to want some tractors. You are going to get, with dairy cows, once they reach 27 months old, you're going to get a lot of milk, so you're going to want something to sell your milk. I'm mostly using the base game kit here, which is why it's that trailer. Yeah, if you're doing dairy cows, you will not get milk until they are about to calve. It kicks in at about 26 to 27 months old. There's some averaging going on in the game to when it kicks in. Yeah, I think that's most stuff. So yeah, what would I do if I was starting out with cows with MaizePlus? What have I done in the past? Generally, a slow motion cow. And beef cows and dairy cows eat the same thing, so you don't need to worry about that. They are cows, okay? So it didn't matter that I fed dairy mix to my beef cattle. How would I start out? You're going to be starting the game in August probably, unless you're playing on a map that starts differently. So get yourself some grass fields, make some hay and some grass silage. Get the grass silage fermented because it's going to take time to ferment. Then go get your cows. If you've got grazing enabled, I haven't covered that. But if you've got grazing enabled and the map supports it, or the enclosure supports it, and during summer, grazing will keep some of the cows fed. Depends how many cows you've got and how big your pasture is. But I would start, make some hay, make some grass silage. I got the farm supply pack enabled. Would have been very sensible, wouldn't it? I have. So I would then use the farm supply pack to buy myself some canola or some soybeans maybe, or some sugar beets, something like that. And that would let you feed individually if you wanted. So if you didn't want to spend the money on a TMR mixer, be aware that the trough capacity, so this bar is for all of them. So you need to not fill, you can't fill each bar individually. So you want to fill the base food to about 40%, etc., etc. If you just rock up with a whole load of bales of silage, drop them down and fill the trough with silage, you won't be able to put the rest in. It's not broken. It's how FS22 works. So yeah, puts in. That's why smaller bales often help, because you can put more smaller bales in than you can a part bale. It's much easier to do 2 small bales than half a really big bale. So yep, that's how I would probably start. If you want to do TMR, you could start exactly the same way. You could get some grass silage and some hay. You could make the mixture you've just seen me make. If you wanted, you could add some mineral feed to that, or some molasses, or some grain mix, or some brewer's grain silage. It's up to you. As long as you meet the minimum requirements for whichever recipe you're going to use, you get TMR. The rest is optional, okay? If you want to customize it, I've got videos on that. Just go into the MaizePlus playlist, they're all there. That's pretty much it. Let's just have a quick look in the store. So if you're starting out with MaizePlus and you're new to it, there are a whole load of new bale types. So you can buy grass silage, you can buy maize silage, you can buy alfalfa hay, alfalfa silage, clover hay, clover silage. Those are the ones that are really interesting for cows. Maybe CCM. Yeah, and they're really good value. You know, it's a grass silage bale, you get 3,500 litres for £500. It's another way to get started. Yeah, I say be patient, because you're going to have to wait a long time for the cows to produce milk. If you're doing dairy cows, the cows do eat a lot more. I have a bunch of videos on that. If you really, if this has whetted your appetite for using cows in MaizePlus, then go check those out as well. You are looking at maybe 10 times the increase in the amount of food, but you get a considerable increase in slurry, manure, and milk output for the dairy cows. If you're not sure whether that is enough, check out my Can You Make Money from Dairy Cows with MaizePlus video, and the beef one, because the beef is different. So what the other things that I set up on here, so I had a, didn't actually buy the field. But yeah, you're going to want straw. So in your first year, you're going to want something to get straw. So we've got some, I do. Yeah, we've got some, no, I don't, but we've got some wheat here. So you're going to want a baler, maybe a round baler wrapper if you're starting out. Make some bales. We've got some maize growing as well. Just jumped in a tractor to do this bit. Got a fast tractor for a reason. Yeah, I'm kind of rambling now, I think. Hopefully this helps. Say again. If I was starting out, and you want to get the feed going quick, some grass, or cut some grass, make some hay, make some grass silage. From that you can make TMR. You select the right mix. If you want to feed individually from that, I would then use the farm supply pack to buy the extra little bits you need, or you can buy them from the store anyway. Break. Forgot there was a gate there. It's a while since I've been on this map. And yeah, I'd go from there. If you're curious, I have a whole Let's Play series. It's my Attingham Let's Play series, where I am doing dairy cows, I'm doing beef cows. I have a lot of kit on that farm, but also my Maypole series, that switches over to have MaizePlus in it. It's much cheaper stuff, but yeah, we've got corn here which is ready to be forage harvested, so we could get a forage harvester out and turn that into fresh maize and maize silage. But yeah, if you want to see it being used, all of my Let's Play series have MaizePlus in them. I've got the Attingham one, which is kind of a play-along tutorial, I see it as. So it goes through a lot of stuff like this. I've got cows and sheep at the start, end up going into pigs as well. So it's a lot of information in there. My Maypole series switches over at the point MaizePlus released. Got dairy cows on there, and on Greenlands, that switch is over. There's a reboot to the series which you'll be able to find in the playlist, and that's then has MaizePlus in it. That's a large scale dairy farm and sheep farm, and so I'm going to do videos on the rest of these, assuming this one goes down okay. So we'll do pigs, sheep, chickens, horses. Horses is always the last one to do because it's the least popular. Cows is usually the most popular, and yeah, that's it, I think. So hopefully you found this interesting. Definitely, if you've got questions, if you've got detailed questions, use the MaizePlus Discord. There's a link for that below. Go into the Discord, read the rules, answer the question that the rules ask you, respond appropriately, selecting a language. That'll open up the Discord. Ask questions, be polite, think before you ask, and you'll get helpful responses. Short questions, stick them in the comments below. Click the like button. Subscribe if you aren't, turn on notifications, and I'll see you next time for more MaizePlus stuff.